Ira Sankey was a man whom God had given a wonderful power to sing the gospel of Jesus Christ. For years, he and Dwight L. Moody worked together, Moody preaching and Ira Sankey singing. On Christmas Eve, 1875, Mr. Sankey was traveling up a steamboat on the Delaware River. It was a calm, starlit evening. The moon was just crowning over the horizon. There were passengers aboard, and they gathered on deck this Christmas Eve. Mr. Sankey was asked if he'd sing a song, and as always, he was perfectly willing to do so. He stood and leaned against the outside rail, the boat drifting through the water, and his eyes wise to the starry heavens, and in a quiet sort of prayer began to sing. Mr. Sankey intended to sing a Christmas song, but somehow he was driven almost against his will to sing the famous shepherd song. There was a deep stillness as many stood spellbound. The words and melody swelled forth from the singer's soul. They floated over the decks and across the quiet river. Every heart was touched. After the song was ended, the passengers shuffled back across the deck to their quarters, everyone wishing each other a Merry Christmas. One man remained standing next to Ira. Both looked over the railing at the moon. The man with the rough, weathered face said, "Did you ever serve in the Union Army during the Civil War, Mr. Sankey?" "Yes," said Ira. "I had. I recall that I served for 4 years." "Do you remember those dark days?" "Well, every one," said Ira. "Can you remember if you were doing picket duty on a bright moonlit night in 1862 just outside of Shiloh?" "Well, yes, I recall that I did. I was doing picket duty that night." "Well, so did I. But I was serving the Confederate Army. I saw you standing at your post and thought to myself, that feller'd never get away alive tonight. I raised up my musket and took aim. I was standing in the shadow, completely concealed, while the full light of moon was falling on you. At that instant, just as a moment ago, you raised your eyes to heaven and began to sing. Mr. Sankey, music, especially song, has always had a wonderful power over me. I took my finger off the trigger and I said to myself, I'll let the feller sing a song to the end, then I'll shoot him. He ain't going nowhere. It'll be as easy as shooting a turkey at a turkey festival." Well, the song you sang was the same song you just sung now. I heard the words perfectly. "We are thine, do thou befriend us, be the guardian of our way." Those words stirred many emotions in my heart. I remembered my childhood year, and I remember my God-fearing mom. And many times she'd sung that song to me, but she died all too soon. Otherwise, much of my life would no doubt have been different. When you finished your song, it was impossible for me to take aim. I thought the Lord who's able to save that man from certain death must surely be a great and mighty powerful God. My arm, of its own accord, dropped limp at my side. Since that time, I've wandered far and wide. But when I saw you standing there singing, just as on that other occasion, I recognized you. Once again my heart was wounded by your song, and now I wish you could help me. Wished you could help cure this sick soul of mine, Mr. Sankey." Deeply moved, Mr. Sankey threw his arms about the man who in the days of the war had been his enemy. And that Christmas night, the two together went to the manger at Bethlehem. The stranger found him, Jesus, the common Savior, the Good Shepherd who seeks the lost sheep until he finds it. And when he's found it, he lays it on his shoulders and brings it home. I can't help but think of when I read that story, how God's hand of protection is on us Christians at all times. To think 14 years later, Mr. Ira Sankey found out that his life was spared by a Southern sniper because of singing a gospel song while on guard duty. The Bible tells us in Isaiah 55:17, "No weapon formed against us shall prosper." I feel that can mean that no one has the ability to destroy us because our Savior Jesus is watching. I remember as a child, my mother, the church, and the Bible telling me that we had guardian angels watching over us. Someday, we'll learn, like Ira Sankey, the many times the Lord by His mighty angels have protected us. Take comfort in that, and rest as a lamb under the arms of our mighty watchful shepherd, Jesus.